This video is brought to you by 86. Pick up video game apparel from Skullgirls and Monster Hunter World. 86.com slash question mark AFF equals 4 and let them know that we sent you. Hello everybody, welcome to another episode or another video clip of Mission Start Podcast. I am your host, Anthony Bionis. Now, this was breaking news today. This recording is Monday, it is the 18th of November. This news broke out when I was at work today, and there was no way I was not going to skip this big news, because this is big for me as well. And I'll just get straight right into it as far as like what that was. Ladies and gentlemen, this is reported from TheVerge.com. Valve announces Half-Life Alyx, its first flagship VR game. It is written by Sean Hollister. 2 years and 9 months after announcing it would build 3 full-length VR games, a number that Valve software have historically never been able to count before, and one of the most exciting announcements in VR's short history so far, the company has announced Half-Life Alyx, the first new game in the acclaimed Half-Life series in a well over a decade. Quote, "We're excited to unveil Half-Life Alyx, our flagship VR game, this Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Can't wait to share with you all." We don't currently have any details beyond the tweet from Valve above, which appears to be the first tweet from a new Twitter verified Valve software account established in June. But clearly, we'll be learning more on Thursday, presumably from the social media account at 10 a.m. Pacific Time. But Alyx almost certainly refers to Half-Life 2 protagonist Gordon Freeman's closest ally, Alyx Vance, who was last seen. Who am I kidding? I played Half-Life 2 Episode 2 back in 2007, and when it first came out, I gave on seeing another game in the series years ago after, and I'm just looking up the synopsis on Wikipedia. Wow, I actually applaud the fact that he's actually writing this in in his news story. I applaud that. So I do remember it being a huge emotional cliffhanger. Damn it, Valve, I was finally coming to terms with what was never happening. Despite some of the most influential and critical acclaimed PC games ever, Valve has famously never finished either its Half-Life supposed trilogies of games. After Half-Life, Half-Life 2, the company called Half-Life Episode 1 and Half-Life Episode 2, but not a third in the series. The closest they've come to knowing anything about where Half-Life was headed was the thinly veiled fanfic from former Valve writer Mark Laidlaw. Valve went on to create additional franchises that would also refrain from becoming trilogies, including Team Fortress 2, Portal 2, Left 4 Dead 2, and Dota 2. There's still plenty of room for Half-Life Alyx to disappoint, particularly if Valve's definition of a full-length flagship game differs from what you expect. But Valve has incentives to do more and simply create a conclusion to the Half-Life saga. In June, we reviewed the Valve Index, perhaps the highest grade VR index headset yet, with impressive controls that let you grip virtual objects with your individual fingers, and one that could use some purpose-built games to justify its existence. On another note, when pinged for comment for Half-Life Alyx, Valve sent a completely unrelated press release, presumably entirely by coincidence. CSGO Operation Shatter Web available now. Thanks, I guess. So, okay. First things first. One. Holy shit. We have a Valve Half-Life game. I've never in my lifetime, I would never thought that we would have another Half-Life game at all. um, the information, the news, the theories, and why Valve was perfectly fine with what they're doing. They're making hand over fist on Steam. Dota 2 International has always been a success for them every year, making millions of dollars for the players to fight for, and on the side making a good amount of profit from the companion packs that they would sell for the event. They were in a position where they did not need to make any more games, and there were so many theories and so many things that to the point where it all made sense. Why would Valve go out of their way to make another game? Look what happened to Artifact. Look at the high expectations for a Half-Life game is through the roof. Why make another game like Portal 3? Like, why make another Left 4 Dead 3? Like, there were so many things that Valve, you could have said, and at this point in time, they do not have a reason to. They're making enough money on Steam alone that they don't have to worry about making games ever again. But the thing that, and I was pretty, and I'm personally myself, like, I got over it when the writer Mark Laidlaw put out his synopsis or his vision of what the ending would be, and I read that top to bottom, and I was satisfied with it, and I was ready to move on. And it's like, all right, this is probably going to be it from Half-Life. This is that was it. No more. I'm done. I'm good. We had closure. Now, Valve comes out today, or the time of this recording, and then surprise all of us. And it's like, wait, what? Valve actually wants to make a game again? On top of that, Valve making another Half-Life game based on Alyx Vance? Like, holy shit. I'm like, oh my god, it surprised the hell out of me, and I am very, very happy that it exists. It is for the VR, specifically for Valve, and one of the things that I kept hearing over the years is that, and it, if you line up with the previous Half-Life games, where Half-Life 1 was an entry that broke the mold on PC and introduces new ideas, new mechanics, and same thing with Half-Life 2, where there were like same idea. And I think for Half-Life 2 was like the physics was like the biggest thing for them, and that kind of broke the mold in the game industry at that time. So one of the theories was like they wouldn't come back unless they were going to innovate something that nobody has done before. And some believe it will be VR. Now, did I believe it when people making those theories? Grain of salt. Could not happen. Who knows? But from what I've been hearing and what people are saying, like, you're not quite surprised the fact that the next game is a VR game for Valve. It makes total sense. Valve's trying to sell more on their product, on their FTC, on their VR headset, on their VR tech. What would be a good way to do it than to put out a game that people have been long after, or have been sought after for the longest time, and it's a Half-Life game. I mean, Half-Life 3 would have been the better answer, but a Half-Life game just in general just gets a lot of people excited. So what better way to do to launch it, or to basically tell people to buy a VR headset than with the Half-Life game? And the tea leaves have been there for people who've been paying attention. So, and as I said, Valve did make Artifact. Like, they did make another game as well. And I think there was one other game like that was Portal related, that was like a mobile version for some degree. Don't quote me on that. I know it's out there. I forgot the name of it. But Valve is slowly getting back into making games. Now, whether this is because maybe they're feeling the pressure of other online store competitively, like Epic Game Store. Actually, I think Epic Game Store might be the only big one. I mean, GOG, I guess, as well. Humble Bundle. But they're still the kings of that. Like, they're still king of selling games on the PC platform. So, as far as, like, does that theory hold up? Honestly, I don't think so. I don't know why they're starting to make games again. I'm not complaining, honestly. I'm just trying to figure out the real reason why. Because, as I said, and as for a lot of people, like before this was like Valve was perfectly fine for where they were at, and that what they were doing was making them money, and they didn't need to make more games. But apparently they want to. I know there's people there at Valve that do want to make games, and like that, not all the devs are just like tied to just working on Steam. I'm pretty sure that a lot of them are, and we don't get me wrong, and let's not forget, there has been so many leaks of Left 4 Dead 3, Portal 3, other stuff regarding their projects that we know, and we never, we saw screenshots and we saw files and we saw this and that, but like we never really got a concrete like, are they making it, are they not? And not to mention that a lot of the people that used to work at Valve, especially during the Half-Life 2 days, like left. Mark Laidlaw was one of them, one of the writers, as well as many others that left that used to make Half-Life games. And in Mark Laidlaw's pretty much his version of the ending, he also puts in like, it's not a direct jab, but just a comparison or metaphor of like, the games, the company that Valve used to be is not there anymore, so he has to move on. So, and yeah, Valve, it seemed to be that type of company, but now things have changed. Like, there's actually people who used to be in that team that I believe they were hiring those people back, and there were some other signs as well. So we're getting a new Half-Life. It's a VR game. I'm very excited to see what this turns out to be. We'll get to find out more information this Thursday, or by tomorrow, if you're watching this video, by 10 a.m. I am very, very curious. Not to mention, let's not discredit the very bottom thing of the article, on the Verge article, saying that CSGO is also going through some interesting changes as well, and they're working on, apparently there were like new models for CSGO for the for the game, for both what was it? It was it was for Terrace and God, it's been a while. It's been long since I played Counter-Strike. It was Terrace and not anti-terrorist. Yeah, it was the other side, basically the police. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but yeah, like apparently they've been working on some new stuff for CS:GO or making new models. So Valve is definitely reinvesting into their games, into their mainstays, and things are happening at Valve. So are we gonna see the Valve of old, or a mix of both? We'll have to wait and see. But one thing's for sure, my theory on what this could be, my gut is telling me this is gonna be a prequel. Actually, hang on, it's actually right here at the very bottom of the article. Check back on Thursday for more, possibly including whether a rumored March 2020 release date is real or be potentially spoiled. Ars Technica claims to have sources confirming that Alyx will turn out to be a Half-Life 2 prequel with magnetic gloves for you to wield. Ooh, nice. So almost like, oh man, it's like the gravity gun on both your hands. That's pretty cool. Confirming. Wow, interesting. So they're saying there's gonna be a Half-Life 2 prequel. Okay, I'm okay with that. I am perfectly okay. More Half-Life, yes please. If this leads me into a Half-Life 3, yes, 100 times yes. Yeah, I would love it. Interesting. Now with that bit of information regarding what the VR game could potentially be. Oh man. So yeah, probably, yeah, interesting. So it would be a first person, obviously first person shooter because it's VR. But you're wielding something interesting. Okay. I am, man. Oh man, like, wait and see. I'm excited. I'm blown away. Like, I never thought I'd never see this until today, but it happened. It fucking happened. Wait and see. I'll give my thoughts on the trailer once it goes up. and just man, let's see what happens. I'm excited. Like, let's Valve. If this leads me to Half-Life 3, please, I will buy 10 of these games. I will buy them, 10 of them, if it happens. But yeah, that is my quick thoughts on Half-Life 2 prequel Alyx Vance for VR. Yeah, again, we'll stay tuned for another video of me reacting to the trailer, and just seeing how this goes. Again, I keep saying this again, but like I'm excited. Like, again, like I am. For those who don't know, like I'm a huge Half-Life fan. Like, I played Half-Life 1 and 2 and Episode 1 and 2 and loved the hell out of it. The ending, the Half-Life 2 Episode 2 like left on a huge cliffhanger, and been stuck there for years. It has been over 10 years since that ending, and we never got anything as far as like an indication as far as like will that story ever conclude. And I was perfectly fine with Mark Laidlaw's version of that. And there's actually a group of devs who are making that version of Mark Laidlaw's ending right now. So I was at a point where like I'm just like I'm done. I'm good. But wow, I mean, Valve, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I don't want to be too excited, but at the same time, like, it's in the words of StarCraft, of the Marine, it's about damn time. With that, we'll see you guys next time.